Oh, this is a good one. And I mentioned this, the work that's going to be happening is scary and exciting. It's exciting because we now really can start defining this as an SU. We all have beliefs. We talked about what you do with your own school. We have beliefs of what we think kids should know. The state, the Board of Education, the Agency of Education has given us the power as SUs to determine what we want our kids to leave school with. And when you start talking about that, it's going to be things like they should be proficient in math, in reading and writing. But more importantly, we value, I think, as a school, as a district, as an SU, we value some things that we don't explicitly teach and assess. We value being responsible people, being respectful, perseverance and grit. We value those things, and we're bringing those things into our school. Now we can really define those things. The state is saying these are transferable skills that are going to help these students be successful when they leave. And we get to start teaching to those. I think when you talk about building your own school or stuff like that, those things kind of come through. They're things that we just think all kids should know or be able to do. And that's one of the things. It's going to be hard work. What does it look like? How do you teach it? How do you assess it? That's work, but it's good work. It's fun work. Trying to figure that out. And then there's the whole point of how do you grade it? And again, those are going to be discussions that I'm confident that your building leaders will help guide you through that discussion of how we're going to figure this out. At Cold Hollow, we are looking at 2 grades. We have what we call employability skills. We expect them to be leaders and work as a team, have perseverance, communication skills, have good work ethic, show up on time, be prepared. But that doesn't affect another set of, we want you to be able to have this content and skills. And so we are trying 2 grades. Here's your behavior grades, and here's your content and skill grades. And we're trying that. It's not easy. We send home a report every quarter saying, you're a good kid, try hard, and you know this. And we still have to put that into a grade because it's scary not to have a grade. Act 77 was passed a couple years ago. It is going to, this is a bill, it's law. Every kid is going to have access to dual enrollment, early college, increased work-based learning, virtual blending learning opportunities, online learning, increased access to career and tech ed, that's a good one for me, and individualized or implementation of personal learning plan. What does that all mean? It means that there's a lot of work to do. Now, some of you, like I said, some of you might know this, but again, we want to make sure you have this information because if school boards start coming to you or community members and say, so what's a PLP? We think it would be a good idea if you knew that. Grades 7 and 9 next year, 2015, will have to have a PLP. And grades 7 to 12 by 2018-19, they'll all have PLPs. And what is included in the PLP is still yet to be determined. It's things like what are students' strengths, their interests, their goals. How that's going to look, it's going to vary. I don't think it would be the right move, in my opinion, to say, here's the form, fill it out. I think we really want students to take some ownership in this and really start looking at, what do they want to learn? I mean, I think it's common sense that people, in general, students and adults, learn better when they have a genuine interest in what they're learning. I taught history, I said, for 9 years. Most of my students did not enjoy that experience. They weren't ready. They were more interested in what was going on in their social life than what FDR was doing. And it's not until they get a little bit older, I try to convince them, when you get older, you'll watch the History Channel, I swear. The other one that was passed was is also basically law. It's board rule, and it's the EQS, the Educational Quality Standards. These were now, if you get a chance, you should read this document because it's pretty interesting. It's basically saying we're getting rid of credits, we're getting rid of Carnegie units, and we are going to ensure that students know stuff. Simple as that. What do schools want their students to be proficient at? So here's some examples of proficiency-based graduation requirements. Again, there are a variety of sample proficiency-based graduation requirements. PBGR is what these are called. If you haven't got them all straight, EQS is Educational Quality Standards. PBL, in this case, means proficiency-based learning. At Cold Hollow, that means problem-based learning or project-based learning, but don't get those confused. And then here's the PBGRs that go along with the SBACs and the, who knows. Vermont has provided a bunch of sample proficiency-based graduation requirements, anywhere from transferable skills to content area skills. And they've done a pretty good job of making sure that they have the same type of language and stuff we've already been working on with the Common Core. We don't have to choose these. Our SU is going to continue to work on what we believe students should be leaving our schools with, but these are just some samples. We want them to be able to read, do some math, be creative, have some idea about civics and government. And then there's the transferable skills, such as we want them to be able to communicate, have some self-direction. So we'll be choosing those, but the good thing is we get to choose that. Our SU gets to decide what we want to make sure our students are proficient at. So then we can just start building up the evidence and say, all right, prove it. If you prove it, you're proficient. Cool, that's what we want. What is it going to look like? Ideally, students are going to take responsibility for their learning. It's not going to be the teacher that continues to give it to them. We know that already. We know that students are learning every day in a variety of ways, looking at the internet, finding stuff, good or bad. They're finding stuff. Ideally, they're going to have a voice. Assessments are going to be customized. How school looks is going to be different. I mentioned that we're getting rid of seat time. We're getting rid of Carnegie units. That's scary because that's how it's always been done. How kids show they're proficient is going to be tough. It's going to be very hard. I've got students that show perseverance in the woods, but not on the math test. So what does that mean? Now, I got kids that will work their butts off to fix something, to solve a problem, but when they get to the math test and they don't know it right off, they stop. Does that mean they're proficient at perseverance? And we've got to figure that out.